I don't know about you, but when it comes to keeping a transmission running strong, I've learned one hard lesson: never cheap out on transmission fluid. So today, I'm taking you through the best automatic transmission fluids on the market. Every product mentioned is linked in the description, so check those out after watching for more information like the pricing. Now, let's begin. At number 10, we have the Valvoline MaxLife Multi-Vehicle ATF. I used this on my 2007 Honda Accord, which had over 160,000 miles on the clock. The thing was starting to get a little hesitant between second and third gear, especially during warm days. I flushed the system and added MaxLife, and within about 100 miles, I noticed a big improvement. The shifts were crisper and the lag was reduced dramatically. The fluid is formulated with advanced friction modifiers and seal conditioners, which made a real difference for my old transmission. It is compatible with most domestic and imported automatic transmissions, which makes it a convenient go-to if you have multiple vehicles like I do. It stayed clean longer than I expected, even after some light towing. Compared to the Castrol Transmax High Mileage, which I have included as number 8 on this list, the Valvoline MaxLife felt more robust at higher temperatures. The pros include seal conditioning, wide compatibility, and stable clarity. The cons include thicker viscosity and fewer dedicated repairs. At number 9, we have Lucas Oil Transmission Fix. This is the first product I reach for when I notice any slipping or minor leaks in an older transmission. I used it in an old Ford Ranger with nearly 190,000 miles, and I genuinely thought the truck was on its last leg. After adding Lucas Oil, not only did the slipping stop, but the downshifts actually became smoother. It does not replace your transmission fluid, it is an additive, but it changes the way the fluid behaves. It thickens the fluid slightly, helps swell the seals, and gives you a temporary performance boost. I noticed less whining from the transmission and cooler temps when pulling my trailer. Compared to the Valvoline ATF+4 Full Synthetic, which is number 6, the Lucas Oil product is less about performance enhancement and more about damage control. The pros include seals repair, leak stopping, and universal fit. The cons include thinner feel and only temporary fix. At number 8, we have Castrol Transmax ATF CVT Universal. I tested this on a Nissan Altima with a CVT transmission that had started developing that classic belt slipping feel. It was a little jittery between 20 to 30 miles per hour, especially going uphill. After replacing the fluid with Castrol Transmax Universal, the difference was immediate. The CVT felt like it had a new belt installed, even though it was just fluid. The bottle says it covers Dexron 3, Mercon, and most CVT applications, and I put that to the test on a few different vehicles. It handles thermal load extremely well and resists oxidation better than most other fluids I've tried. Compared to the Polaris AGL transmission fluid, which is number 7 on the list, the Castrol Transmax Universal has a much broader application range and works for both traditional automatics and CVTs. The pros include universal spec, CVT ready, and heat stable. The cons include premium price and not OEM specific. At number 7, we have Polaris AGL transmission fluid and gear case lubricant. I use this fluid in a Polaris Ranger 1000 that I regularly take out for trail work and hauling gear around the property. The performance in harsh environments was top-notch. It is designed specifically for Polaris vehicles, and that specialization shows. After draining the old fluid, I poured in the AGL and immediately noticed quieter gear shifts and less clutch chatter. The transmission sounded tighter and more confident, especially under load. This is a gear case-specific blend that handles moisture and dust infiltration better than almost anything I've tried. Compared to the Castrol Transmax Universal at number 8, the Polaris AGL is more targeted toward utility and off-road use and works like a charm in those rougher conditions. The pros include off-road durability, AGL tuning, and gear case protection. The cons include narrow use and high cost per quart. At number 6, we have Valvoline ATF+4 Full Synthetic. This was my go-to when servicing a Dodge Charger with over 100,000 miles. The transmission felt like it was beginning to stutter during light acceleration, especially during cold starts. After switching to Valvoline's ATF+4 Synthetic, the problem was gone. The fluid has a consistent viscosity, even in colder temperatures, which means quicker gear engagement and less wear over time. It meets the specs for Chrysler and Fiat automatic transmissions. So I would say this is a must-have if you're dealing with one of those systems. Compared to Lucas Oil Transmission Fix at number 9, the Valvoline Synthetic is more performance-focused and better for long-term wear prevention. The pros include crisp shift, broad spec, and thermal stability. The cons include synthetic price and limited leak repair. At number 5, we have Mopar ATF+4. This is the OEM transmission fluid for most Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. I used it in a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and the results were exactly what I expected. Smooth, reliable, consistent shifts. This fluid is engineered to work perfectly with those systems, and in my opinion, nothing matches factory compatibility like Mopar ATF+4. It also helped reduce that metallic sound I used to get during quick deceleration. Compared to Mobil 1 Full Synthetic LV at number 4, the Mopar fluid has a slightly thicker consistency and feels more controlled, especially when driving under load. The pros include OEM approved, exact fit, and clutch safe. The cons include Chrysler only and not synthetic. At number 4, we have Mobil 1 Full Synthetic LV. I ran this in my Mercedes E-Class, and it provided the smoothest, most fluid shifts I've ever experienced in a sedan. This is a fully synthetic, low-viscosity formula that meets a wide range of specifications, including Ford LV and General Motors DEXRON6. What I really loved about this fluid is how well it performs in extreme temperatures. During winter, there was no lag in cold start engagement, and in summer, there was no foaming even under heavy acceleration. Compared to Mopar ATF+4 at number 5, the Mobil 1 LV feels lighter and is ideal for newer vehicles requiring faster shift response. The pros include ultra-smooth, low viscosity, and synthetic strength. The cons include high price and only 55 spec. At number 3, we have Castrol Transmax High Mileage. I used this in an old Honda Civic that was developing minor leaks and hard shifting after 200,000 miles. I was honestly impressed with how well it restored the performance. The seal conditioners in the formula clearly did their job because the leaks stopped completely, and shifting got way smoother. It is designed specifically for vehicles with over 75,000 miles and adds friction modifiers to help reduce shudder. It also helped reduce that burnt smell I was getting before. Compared to Valvoline MaxLife at number 10, the Castrol product is more tailored to high mileage issues and feels a bit more refined during light throttle shifts. The pros include seal-carrying smooth shifts and high mileage. The cons include heavier and not universal CVT. At number 2, we have Idemitsu ATF Type TLS-LV. This one is made for Toyota and Lexus vehicles, and I tested it on a 2014 Toyota Camry Hybrid. The low viscosity made a noticeable difference in start-stop conditions, and the transmission felt incredibly light and quick to respond. The fluid is engineered specifically for Asian vehicle transmissions, which means it is a perfect match for their unique torque converter designs. It also seemed to run cooler, which is always a bonus for hybrids. Compared to Mobil 1 Full Synthetic LV at number 4, the Idemitsu is more finely tuned for Japanese automatics and offers more precise shift behavior. The pros include Toyota OEM, low viscosity, and clean fluid. The cons include limited to TLS and harder to find. At number 1, we have Hotshot's Secret Shift Restore. I discovered this product while looking for a solution to a harsh shifting Silverado that I tow with. Instead of doing a full transmission rebuild, I decided to give this additive a try, and I was blown away. The formula reconditions worn-out fluid and restores the protective properties needed for smoother shifting. Within a week, the clunk between second and third gear was gone. It worked almost like a chemical tune-up. You can use it with any automatic transmission fluid, and it has become a must-have in my garage. Compared to Castrol Transmax ATF CVT Universal. At number 8, the Hotshot additive is more focused on fluid recovery than direct replacement. The pros include shift restore, universal fit, and no rebuild. The cons include additive only and needs old fluid.